Welcome to Education Transformation, where on today's podcast we are thrilled to introduce a true trailblazer, Jacquie Chandler, an activist, author, and dynamic force in sustainable travel. Jacquie's journey spans the creative and the transformative. With a background in fashion design, marketing, and media, she's worn many hats. From corporate story coach to geotourism guide and Earth Gym co-founder. Her creative insight even led her to serve as a creative consultant on Nat Geo TV's Legend of Mick Dodge. Jacquie's passion for our planet is unmistakable. Inspired by the idea that travelers are willing to invest in protecting the places they love, she founded sustaintahoe.org, a nonprofit organization dedicated to sustainable tourism and environmental stewardship. Beyond her activism, Jacquie embarks on her own Earth Walk, a powerful journey reconnecting with nature and inspiring generations to do the same. Her songwriting, books, and editorials tackle pressing issues like social isolation, nature deficit disorder, and our current climate crisis. Today, we dive into Jacquie's remarkable story, exploring how her diverse experiences and unwavering commitment are shaping a more sustainable and connected world. Get ready for an inspiring conversation that bridges creativity, environmental advocacy, and the call for change. Wow, thank you so much for joining Joe and I today, Jacquie. It's really wonderful to have you on.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it. You're welcome. It's great.
Well, let's just dive right in. I'm really excited for people to understand more about what you're doing. And I'd love for you to just share a little bit about the inspiration behind Earth Rangers Unite. Tell us a little bit about what it is and what was your inspiration for it. Was there some aha moment when you just knew you had to build this, or what was your inspiration?
I would say it was a launch from the work I've done in Lake Tahoe with my organization, sustaintahoe.org. The mission is to accelerate the adoption of stewardship so visitors who come here choose activities, they're guided to choose activities that do no harm. And in the process of this, I put on many demonstrations, or we did, the organization, for many years on what a menu of activities would look like that would guide people to really connect with the water, the land, the plants, the wildlife, the community, the culture, and the heritage, what I call the 8 worlds of wonder. And in the process, I would always have the native local Washoe people who, after 10,000 years and left no trace, are still here, of course, down there on the reservation. And so they would always lead every event we had with a prayer, water blessing, some acknowledgement. And one day before one of the events, I was standing at the edge of the water with the Washoe elder who hadn't seen the lake in maybe since he was a child. And he was looking so long into the water. And finally he said, "The water has lost its sparkle. Maybe nobody sings to it anymore."
Wow.
And what type of song makes water sparkle? What type of song makes me sparkle? And I wanted the water to sparkle. How can I find a gratitude song? And I had been on a quest with the earth for quite a while. With a man I met named Mick Dodge, we ended up with a TV show, The Legend of Mick Dodge, on National Geographic. And we had developed a practice called the Earth Gym, how to stretch and tone with a stick and a stone. So when you go outside, you feel at home and never alone.
I love it.
Because words can destroy you. So the Earth Gym, training with sticks and stones, I had started elected to build a connection with the forest because it was the Earth's gym, open 24/7. We all have a membership. But when I fast forward, 20 years and then being in Tahoe and having that moment and thinking about the native people here and indigenous people everywhere and the sacred reciprocal relationship before Safeway and even still indigenous people around the world that feel it when a forest is taken out and they cry, and you don't understand as a modern person programmed to think about the world, not the earth, world, that is biological art. It's connected to our heart. Why would we take it apart?
Wow, you know it.
So putting all those together, I decided I would go on a quest and find a gratitude song. And then these songs started coming. And then I started sharing the practice of training with sticks and stones with young kids. And I saw how much value they got, recognizing that if you have a problem and you put a question down and you take it on a walk, the wind will bring the wisdom to your words. That if you follow your feet, the earth will teach. And what will it teach you? I don't know. But it sure holds our life support together very nicely as we exchange oxygen for carbon and depend on the clean water. So you put all those pieces together, and the effort it was to get the tourism industry to see that if you connect visitors to those 8 worlds, they will naturally care and have that stewardship. And then what if we were to seed a millennial forest of consciousness with remembering, recovering, and restoring, which they don't even need to? What kid have you ever seen a 5-year-old? They feel connected to everything.
Yes.
We foster that with young children as they already feel connected to the natural world. And we go, yeah, every chemical in your body can be found in the earth and its atmosphere.
Absolutely.
You share 50% of your DNA with a tree. So why, as we watch the world take out our life support, what if we were to empower Gen Alpha to grow up so that they can align their thinking with nature as a part of nature, to think with nature, and like a beaver, design a habitat that lifts all life forms up. Create a world with the earth, not just from the earth.
Yes.
Earth Rangers unite.
Yes, and it is born. I love it. And this is really going to help us talk about the next thing I would like for you to unpack for the audience a little bit, which is because you're talking about this beautiful connection with nature that children, I think, innately have. I agree with you. They're born innately having this oneness and connection that is slowly sort of barriers are put up over time. But you address this nature deficit disorder. Could you just talk a little bit about how your Sing with Nature is addressing what you describe as nature deficit disorder for the audience?
Richard Louv is the person that coined that term. And what he's done, his research and his study, and there's even science now behind it on Nature Network and different places, are showing that the more we have sanitized our culture against the dirt outside, the more we have compromised our whole immunity consciously, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. And the problem is, because our programming in the modern culture has invited us to see the earth as like free Home Depot, it makes it very difficult. I mean, I grew up, it was recreation, resource, and scenery, right? And so when kids are growing up learning to objectify so much of the things around them, that there is a deficit that's being created. And now we have, especially since the pandemic, right, all this mental health issue. And when I went to a media conference on children's media, there was a whole day for how young children need resilience. Resilience, right? And resilience is the ability to adapt, and problem solve, and conflict resolution, and persevere, self-advocate, right? All these pieces that make up resilience. And I'm listening to these presentations, and they're talking about this. And I'm thinking, at the end, I said, whoa, hello, are there any shows or toys? They were talking about toys and shows. We need to show more hugging, kids sharing their feelings, right? The things that are socially acceptable in our sanitized culture. And I said, have you ever seen a blade of grass push through 3 inches of concrete? Is that not resilience? You ever seen a bear run, from hunter? Have you ever seen a creek keep moving despite the channelizing to keep giving life? Is that not perseverance, adaptation, a tree that falls down and continues to grow? What shows and toys are you promoting that help children face this wellness deficit by seeing their true nature in nature? The woman literally jumped back on the stage. These are the top psychologists for children media on the planet at this conference, thousands of people in the room.
Amazing.
And she said, oh, you're talking about the environment. Oh, we planted trees. This isn't that. This is about children and social problems.
Wow.
And they said, do you know any toys? And I said, sticks and stones to stretch and tone. So when you go outside, you feel at home and never alone. Yeah. Oh, you can't shrink wrap it. Is that the problem?
Wow.
Yeah. So like after, we've been living and teaching in the UAE for since 2013. So for the past 12 years. And I have also witnessed that disconnect between, kids and nature. One small example would be we took a school trip, and most of us wanted to do a bike riding tour, but several of the kids had never ridden a bicycle before. And these were high school age children. So, I have, firsthand witness of this disconnect. So like the children that have engaged with Sing with Nature, what are some of the success stories that you've witnessed? Could you give us an example of something?
Okay, so I have not built the Earth Ranger Unite portal yet. I have got it up for grants. I'm here on the show to share the vision of it and why I think the timing is so good. Because after the pandemic, we realized our educational system built in the 1900s is completely broken, and that people are pulling information. Most of our educational system is to make sure we have good little programmed corporate, right? And that's not working because it continues to program people with the world and not seeing the earth. We can't solve these problems in the world thinking as the world. You see where we get. I don't know if you've been watching American politics, but it's very scary what happens when you continually profit. It's insatiable, right? And so the earth is now swallowing the world. Literally.
Yeah.
Pick a team. When you talk about disconnect, are you breathing? If you're breathing, you are connected, exchanging oxygen for carbon. If you are drinking and eating, you are connected to the earth, but we don't consciously live, act, and behave that way. And so I'll give you one example to your question is when I came upon the song, The Nature in Me, and I went to a local summer school to share it with 8 to 12-year-old kids. There are about 20 of them. I walked them outside the building. I said, let's go sing it outside. As we're walking out by these trees, I said, oh, did you see that tree? I think it just waved to you. And they went, is that okay to talk about? That happens to me all the time. And I opened the confessional, and all the kids, one by one, I'm going to cry. They started sharing these relationships they have with the forest, but they don't know if it's okay. And you know what? I want to go back to the one thing, the woman that jumped back on the stage. Now think about this. What happened to the last people, women and natives, that spoke to the earth, that listened to the voice of the earth? that had their DNA, divine nature access, activated. What happened to them? Burned? Genocide?
Killed,
That's epigenics. I mean, I've thought of calling myself an Earth Witch, but see where I'm going? So that's why Earth Rangers Unite is this hybrid. We take what kids want to do. I want to be on a video game. And we change the game. And the game is Earth. The game is Earth. Survival, thrive. How are you going to survive? How are you going to thrive in the 21st, 22nd century? By connecting to the power of the quantum devices that are going to be able to transform vortex and ley line energy sources on the earth into usable electricity. How to grow your own home so it sequesters carbon. What does a beaver do to lift an entire ecosystem and other species along with it? Rising, but right? These personal and planetary problems are a mirror image of each other. And so we use technology. How do you do it in France? How do you do it in Spain? What are you doing in the resources? And AI just helps. Boom. Like you're just like hooked up to the mothership. You are at the helm of your Earth ship. And then where are the answers? In the earth. You learn how to listen and walk softly so that you can learn and hear the language of the land that has come to me in all these songs, which are insights. But I'm not a musician. I'm not trying to go on the road and put an album out. I'm trying to inspire other people to listen. This is just the starter kit.
Jacquie, I'm just really excited for you to elaborate on this connection piece, because I know a little bit, I have more information than the audience, or some of the audience anyway. How does Sing with Nature act as a bridge instead of a barrier between the devices and nature?
Okay, because the game, you have the animated creatures, the animated characters, and I've got a couple of versions of this, but the one that I'm putting into Benevity to try to partner with Microsoft, because they're working on all this responsible AI. So they would bring in the resources connected. We know how that works. But the game would be they're solving something and they have to find the answers in nature. And it would trigger a curiosity. The episodes would be set up. I've got some starters, but I want to collaborate with people. I need collaboration because people live in all kinds of environments, but we're all on the earth. We all need water and air, right? Mm-hmm. So we're all in the earth. So I don't care if the only earth you have is a blade of grass. There's so much wisdom in that tree, in that one plant, in your house plant, right? So you get the 10-minute dive into what are the Earth Rangers solving, and then it leaves either a clue or a question, and you have to go outside and answer it. That's the bridge. The bridge is the answers are in the earth. They're not online. The resources and the proof points are online. Oh yeah, this is what we did. We found out a tannery was dropping all this stuff and it was going downriver, and that's why we can't drink. Why can't we drink the water out of any stream? We just accepted, oh, you can't drink the water out of a stream. Why? Why not?
Yeah.
Good point.
If water has memory, and this has been proven in science, then it can remember itself clean and pure. And we're connected to that consciousness. So there's a quantum field. The field is fluid. Quantum science is showing us now the field is fluid. We live in story like fish live in water, and story is literally the ecosystem that we define and manage reality. So these kids that are already in relationship with the natural world, we foster that and they get curious. Not the science. Remember braiding sweetgrass, the three languages. The language of science, okay, we got that. You can go find that online. The indigenous voice, that is the DNA, the divine nature access, the voice within all of us. We are all indigenous to the planet somewhere. But the earth voice, how do you get that one? Now, I've been 40 years just now coming into how do I listen? Indigenous people, they raise people up, because before Safeway, how are you going to survive if you don't have a relationship with the land, the seasons, the wildlife, right? You're not going to make it. There's no Safeway. Right? So these are innate in our psyche. They're not in our programming. We're programmed against it. So this is why it's a bridge. The bridge is we take the tech, I won't even call it addiction, the access available, but we bridge it with we need to solve. If Gen Alpha, we haven't done a good job giving them a planet here.
Right.
But they are the earth. Every chemical in your body can be found in the earth and the atmosphere. We are humus, mud, earth in a human form. We are a neuron of an evolving planet. They can access that power. I wrote a sci-fi story 200 years in the future, The Guardians of Eden, of what happens if we just start right now seeing that our true nature is nature. And we use a bridge with technology because there's no way to get away from it. And it's got a good use.
Yes.
AI can be helpful.
Yes.
But the real EI is what we need. Earth intelligence.
I love that.
Innate in us.
Yeah.
So we take the EI and the AI, and that's how we evolve.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I do too, as well as the inspiring curiosity. You know what I mean? Like driving, kids to, to see these things and, ask questions and, seek out the answers. I think that's, that's the approach that we're taking as well.
Yeah, I was going to add that, the AIM model, curiosity is really the spark that initiates a learning journey, that when we're about to learn anything, it's coming from the students. I want to just touch base about your previous point with regard to the connection of the 3 blades of grass. And I'm wondering if you personally have any examples of or research data that could talk about the mental well-being of children today, especially those maybe who are really having this nature deficit disorder. Can you talk to us a little bit about what is your awareness of the connection between a child's well-being and their connection to nature?
Well, it is really to access that innate earth intelligence. And there are so much in the studies of what has been happening to young children, especially after the pandemic. The isolation has really shut down a lot of the natural forces to connect. We've just shut down more and more. Each generation is more sanitized in a corporate thing. And then we wonder why our immune system is so compromised, and our food and our air and all these things we do because the world needs profit, right? So I don't have a direct study right now other than what Richard Louv has shown is that the increase in mental problems and the nervous system being, just like it's like trauma by 1,000 cuts, trauma by 1,000 cuts, because every day there's something. And then I told you about those kids and they have that relationship. So the key is no matter what age, you can take any kid out, no matter how isolated or insulated they may be, and just taking them outside and saying, what do you notice? I mean, this is how things have come to me because I'm finding my way from being programmed to think, oh, just don't be a litter bug. That was the 50s, right? Don't be a litter bug. That was my whole relationship with nature, conscious. Like I said, we all are in relationship. We're exchanging oxygen. We are in relationship. We don't have the awareness of it. So the first step is noticing in nature. And just when kids get out in nature, there is plenty of science to show that the aerosols coming off the trees calm the nervous system and the cortisol levels. They bring in a vibration, a frequency that aligns and soothes the nervous system. And there is plenty of data on this. You might have heard of earthing or grounding.
Yes.
And when I taught Earth Gym, I literally taught this as a college credit course outside at the college down the street for 3 years. And the first thing I would do, the kids would come outside, is college kids, and they would all have their shoes on, and I would have my shoes off, and my feet would be on the ground, and I'd have a stick, and I'd get the buffest guy, the buffest 20-year-old, and I'd say, okay, you take that end of the stick, and we'd do like a tug like this, right? And he'd have one end and I'd have the other, and I'd be able to hold him.
Oh, wow.
And all the kids would kind of laugh and they'd go, "What's going on here?" And I would say, "Okay, now take off your shoes, put your feet to the ground, connect to this frequency, this energy field, grip with your toes, pull from the core, not the stomach core, the core, iron core in the center of the earth. Pull that power, that force field up into your body. Now take the end of the stick. And now let's try it again." And now he's 20 and I'm 60.
Wow. I'm going to try that today. That's awesome.
20% increase. Now you have to, it's amazing. Think of a tree. Its roots are gripping the earth. And we take our roots and we grip the earth. And so it's not magic. It's actually science, but it's also EI, Earth Intelligence. You're connecting with the source of your life. You can't tell me your life source comes from the world. Water, food, oxygen, where?
Right.
How did we forget this? How did we think we could compromise so that Gen Alpha can't drink out of a stream? This necklace I'm wearing, my friend made it. It's very tough alchemy to get gold and silver to merge. And it's symbolic of the transcendence of the power that happens, the alchemy that happens when we reconnect our roots into the earth. In Japan, they have forest bathing, and it's part of the culture. And people take a break and they go out and they sit in the forest because their insurance covers it, because it's been proven to have so many health benefits just being in the forest. But see, that's one aspect, and that's maybe what you're asking about, because that feeds the nervous system, the psyche, all the things. But I'm taking it one step further. It's not just get kids out in nature so that they can play, recreation, scenery, resource. See your true nature in nature. Like when I walk and I see something, I notice something. I saw this tree leaning on another tree, and the tree was like calling me to lean on it. And I went, okay. And I just went over, I saw, I've been noticing faces in trees and all kinds of stuff, right? Lean on this tree, and I'm hearing the tree and it's calling and this is what happens. I'm outside and it's, "Lean on me," said the mother tree. "My roots are deep and strong. My branches beckon many a bird to sit and share a song. If you linger long enough, they'll let you sing along. Just be mindful of that sap that may suddenly appear weaving through my bark like sweet, salty tears. Some wounds heal quickly, others may take years. But the resilience of my nature eclipses any fears."
I love that.
And I have a guitar tune with it. But the point is, you see how that's from the earth. That's from the earth.
That is beautiful.
You just open the senses and listen. This relationship is critical for our survival and for Gen Alpha. I'm very emotional about it.
Well, speaking of critical for Gen Alpha, talk to us a little bit. You and I have talked about the Always Meaningful Education model, and our goal is really to make this big shift in education and on a global way. We want all kids to have a transformative experience. How do you see Earth Rangers Unite, a Sing with Nature, impacting the education system? How do you see it filtering into children's lives?
Got to have a pilot program. We need a pilot program at a charter school, and where it can be tested. I'm looking for collaborators. I've actually put out, to Microsoft to see if they would be interested in building it. I even remember Zuckerberg years ago when he started getting kids, he said he sees, he'd like to build an educational platform. Let's bring those LLM models, large language models, together and do this pilot program that is the piece. That's where they get the funding, but the coaching and the direction is helping kids go outside and see their true nature in nature as a part of nature. and getting curious and noticing nature and noticing how what the forest needs, what things that they're so outside we can't even think about. It's almost like abstract, and yet we're breathing it.
Yes.
We're breathing the exchange in the relationship, and we need to animate that, to activate that DNA, that divine nature access. It's got to be brought in. It's not recess. It's not about playing sports outside. We already have all that. It's not that. It's walking softly on the land to understand, to solve personal and planetary problems, like seeing the resilience of something that just keeps growing. One of the songs that came to me, Veteran of the Forest, I saw this tree laying there dead, and I thought, it doesn't really die. It keeps giving. What does that mean, about life and my relationship to life and nature? How are these species surviving out here with so little habitat left?
Yes.
What do they need? And then all those questions would lead to, well, here's what we know. We know when we brought the wolves back in Yellowstone, the ecosystem, when we put things back, when we rewild and we put things back and replace those pieces, those missing pieces in our own inner ecology, like nature, it regenerates. And suddenly that indigenous, the braiding sweetgrass, the indigenous voice, think about, what is regenerative agriculture, biomimicry, frontier forests have in common? Those are all things we think with nature. We go, wow, look at, how did that, what the heck? Really?
That kind of reminds me of my days before I was in education. I worked as an arborist. And I would often have to, inform clients that there is life in dead trees, so there isn't always a need for, removal, because, there's life in dead trees. So it kind of, brings back,
it redefines death. Nothing in the forest is ever dead. It's always in a cycle, serving at some level. It decomposes and it brings nutrients back in. Fire brings nutrients back in. They bring nutrients back in. How can we use that in building homes and putting neighborhoods together, like Mitchell Joachim, grow your own home, using that 25,000-year ficus technique of growing these ficus that you can shape, and they sequester carbon. This is thinking with nature. You see where this is why it needs to be funded by the LLM, these large models, these tech things. We don't need to be afraid of artificial intelligence. We need to leverage its ability to consolidate and grab and pull, like water pulls and it pulls. We pull ourselves across, our muscles pull, water pulls. It's pulling information from everything we've given it. But that's not the whole story. That's what's important for kids. It's not the whole story. That's not where everything is happening. The relationship, the currency of all living systems, is happening with nature. And we're a part of that. Relationship is the currency. Relationship is the currency with the greatest ROI, with the greatest interest. Relationship is a currency of all living systems. We are in relationship with nature. It runs on this currency. We run on the currency. We may kill and die from money, fiat currency, but you can't live without carrying currency. You put a baby in a tub of money and leave him alone, he'll die. But you don't have any money and you're living off handouts, but you care and love him and hold him to your heart. The currency of caring is the currency we can't live without. We forgot. So we need a generation that doesn't forget that.
That is so true. I'm really loving, my mind is going getting really active, thinking about all of the lessons, like you're pointing out, just seeing, like you were saying too, Joe, just like that there's life in dead trees. You can see the grass poking through the concrete, and the lessons of perseverance and adaptability that kids can see just from being present with nature. It's really inspiring.
That's it. And then they get all those other benefits that help fill that empty. How do you find resilience in a mall?
Right. You cannot.
But you go outside and there's hardly anything outside you can look at, even if it's a city. I see more faces in city trees than anywhere. When I visit my daughter in Seattle and I'm on those big cities, people go, oh, not everybody lives in a forest. Doesn't matter.
Yes, true.
There's a tree somewhere. There's a face in it looking at you. And then there's a song, and then you get the songs and they're sticky and they stay with you.
Oh, I love it.
And then the kids come up with a song and they sing them, and then it becomes sticky. It becomes part of the culture. And now the cultural story is about being an earth ranger because it's cool. It's cool to care. It's cool to care. It's cool to care and share.
It's cool to care. I love that as a tagline, really, for students to really just embrace that. It's cool to care. We've got such an amazing, we're alive at an amazing time, right? And
yes.
I'm so with you in embracing the technology and the AI. There is no fear in it. It's giving us an opportunity as humans to evolve in a different way and to develop in a different way. And I, for one, I'm really excited about it. Having said that, we, with all of the technologies surrounding us, I just love that you have found a way to build this bridge for young humans to appreciate how the technology can support them, but that it's bringing them back into nature as well. So thank you for doing that, Jacquie. And I know you want some collaborators. You want some investors and some people to help you to bring Earth Rangers Unite to life some more. So what would an ideal collaborator look like to you? Do you have any people in mind, or how can parents or educators get involved?
Well, any tech company that's working on LLM, or video game developers, I'm talking with somebody right now, Sven, who's in Malta, who I met through the Arts Cultural Network. Is that
That's cool. I met you through the TED.
Through the TED. Right.
TED Talk, yeah.
Speaker Mastermind. Okay. So animators that are looking for the new game, the game that will sustain, that will not blame or shame, that will not be about destruction, but about resurrection and pulling the best of best practices around the world together to enable Gen Alpha, people that are looking at educational tools, interactive, because this is interactive media. I used to call it TV years ago when I first thought of this, how, media is telling a vision. Television is just telling a vision. And media is the medium is coming through. So people that are in gaming, I'd love to get PBS Kids or Nickelodeon, a big distributor, a YouTube, someone like that would come in. So I need the distribution platform, the video gaming part, the LLM part, and then the indigenous people that are carrying this connection that is still in their genes. It's in all our genes, but it's been a little more burnt out, and they have more of a direct line on how to basically walk softly so that you can hear the songs in the water and feel the rhythm of the land and notice the trees waving to you. So that's sort of the team that was to be the collaborators, and then people that are hungry to test ways to bring nature in without it. It's not recess. I'm not talking about recess. I'm talking about the classroom is outside in the earth, with the earth, activating the EI and then using the AI to make that bridge. So tech, video gaming, and distribution companies. So let's bring PBS, Microsoft, Facebook.
I love it.
Imagine invest in the best of Gen Alpha.
Absolutely. Well, we are about to wrap up here, Jacquie. So I just want to ask you if you could give any parents or educators any tip, if you could give one bit of advice, what would you say to us?
Notice nature when you go outside, wherever you go, whatever nature is nearby, just notice it and pause and breathe. If it's a tree, if it's grass, if you can sit on the grass, because 20 minutes connecting your foot or any part of your open skin to the earth will balance the ions in your body, and it'll take out all this positive charge within 20 minutes earthing. So just spend 20 minutes, even once a week, if that's all you have, with your feet on the earth. And then notice and listen. And if you walk softly, you will start to, It's speaking to us all the time.
Yes, that's beautiful. 20 minutes in nature with your feet on the ground.
And your heart open, and you follow your feet, the earth will teach.
That is good advice. And people
We'll
can
incorporate that into our daily routine.
Yes, that's right. And Jacquie, people can connect with you through sustaintahoe.org. Is that
Correct.
the best way? Okay.
Yes, Tahoe is Dao, big water. We are water, walking bags of water, living in squares. But there's no squares and lines in nature. So see what I mean? Our best thinking got us here. We need better thinking. Go Gen Alpha.
Yes.
Let's empower them to raise up the EI for all of us and leverage the data we've dumped into the internet so that we can find our way.
I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate
Grateful.
it. And
very grateful.
Yeah.
I look forward to connecting with you more, Jacquie. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.